Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all of the people and the Millennial Moguls all across the world. My name is Millennial Mogul Frank Salas. I go by the name The Talented Mr. Salas. And with me, I've got my man, the legend, the living legend, Mr. Matt Crane. Say what's up to the folk, Matt Crane.
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Matt Crane, better yet known as I am Matt Crane across the board on all social media channels. I'm an international business consultant, trainer, author, speaker, and I'm also your Power of Great podcast host that airs on iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud every single week. But better yet, I service those who are looking to gain developmental skills, sales skills, marketing skills, but ultimately want to create a life of great by getting an infrastructure in their business. And I'll serve you in Crane's Crew. It's my exclusive service-based inner circle. You can join it, bit.ly/bizdev with Matt. We network, we train, we serve. We don't sell because selling is a byproduct of serving. Always a pleasure to be here with Mr. Frank Salas. What's up, baby?
Yo, I love that. I love that. Selling is the byproduct of serving. That should be on a T-shirt with Matt Crane's face on it.
Yeah. Hey, if I keep dropping these heat seekers like I've been doing here lately, I'm gonna have my own fashion line with just these zingers, bro.
Yo, you know what, man? I'm very blessed to be friends with Matt Crane. When I wake up some days, I'll just have like random voicemails from him, just like rapping things and rhyming things together. And they're like the most obscure things, but they make the best sense. It's hilarious. So big shout out to Matt.
You gotta have fun with it, man.
For sure, Matt. So today we're talking about, this is our third episode, Millennial Moguls. We're talking about online versus brick and mortar. Who wins? And you mentioned it before the show as we're hanging out with the live studio audience here in Blab. Both of us come from a more traditional background and we have more unconventional business now. So what is your thoughts just briefly on the online versus the brick and mortar spectrum?
You know, I think there's a lot of similarities based on the way that you have to build them. But I also think that what online does versus brick and mortar is that online gives you a much faster opportunity to offload large-scale responsibilities. And I think that's a big deal because brick and mortar, you don't have a chance to offload any responsibilities at the very beginning. You have to control the start. I mean, you're the head cook, you're the waiter, you're the manager, and you're the dishwasher. So, I think online gives you the opportunity to scale much faster because you can offload so many of those intricate responsibilities from the very beginning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And today I really feel like because you and I have now switched over to unconventional, we still want to be very objective, but I know that we're going to lean very hard towards the online side. And we're basically going to show you how to go from mortar and bricks to cash and clicks, baby.
Ooh. What you just saw there, guys, was Frank letting me know, hey, the warning shot has been fired. I'm in the game. I'm in the game. That was nice. I like that. Nice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely. So you said some great things, and both of online and both brick and mortar have things that are similar. So let's go ahead and start off with that. I'm going to go ahead and start off with one that's similar. Both of these online and offline need advertising.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think, too, though, not only do they need advertising, but it has to become it's going to be the most intensive part of growing your business. So what I think that most online entrepreneurs miss is that they still want to budget they still want to have a marketing plan with a marketing budget encapsulated or an idea of a marketing budget, because with online marketing, that's your bread and butter. You've got no other choice. With brick and mortar, especially if you're going to be a new brick and mortar business, same thing. You've got no other choice but to come out firing with the marketing. So I agree with you 100%. I'm going to take it a step further and say that while most people get very concerned on business planning, I think marketing planning needs to be what kind of catapults that business plan and becomes part of that infrastructure. because I think that if you go in to try to build a business plan nowadays with the power of social media, even if you want to create a brick and mortar building and you don't have your target, you don't have your target audience, or you don't have your client profile or your ideal client avatar, as Frank calls it, then you could be expending a lot of capital that you don't have trying to find all of these things.
Absolutely. And speaking of nightmares, both of these businesses have a lot of back end operations, which means both online and both brick and mortar still need standard business practices like UPC codes, inventory management, distribution, shipping, receiving, incoming, and outgoing. These are the things that are similar in both of the platforms.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the thing. With social media evolving in the manner that it is, it's starting to take a more traditional business model form. So you're seeing all these brick and mortar marketing, shipping, ordering, warehousing companies. They're moving all to an online and direct mail concept, which is forcing what? It's forcing social media and online to start getting more structured. So I think you're exactly right that here's what I'm going to say to this point. Bottom line is that whether you're going to run a brick and mortar business or whether you're going to run an online business, you must structure them to be able to do both. And if you can do that in retrospect to a marketing plan, now the business plan obviously might shift a little bit just based on the fact that brick and mortar is going to require a little bit more intensive business planning from kind of an ebb and flow than it would be online. But from a marketing planning standpoint, I would structure them to do both.
Absolutely. And you picked up on something really, really key is both of these platforms, whether you're online, whether you're brick and mortar, you have to be in social media right now. There is no other way. There is no other way to do business without being in social media. So I'm great. It's great that you brought that up. But now let's go ahead and start to dissect these two a little bit. And let's start with, I'm old school, man, just like you. You're old school tactics with new school swagger. I'm old school too, man. You got to do the pros and cons, just like my boy, Teddy Roosevelt. The Teddy Roosevelt close. I had to close myself on which one was better because I have owned an online business. I currently do. And I have a brick and mortar business right now. And I've started out with the brick and mortar business. So I owe all of my starting points to brick and mortars, but there is some definite advantages to both and some cons on both. So let's go ahead and start with the brick and mortar. And I'm going to start with the pro, and then I'll have you match my pro. So with a brick and mortar location, you can walk in and you can physically see the actual product. You can touch it, you can look at it, you can see all the details, and you can decide right then and there in an instant, is this something that you truly want to have in your home, have in your driveway, have on your person, give to somebody that you like or love, so that's my first pro, is that you can actually see the product. What's a pro for you when it comes to brick and mortars?
Location-based marketing. With brick and mortar, it's all about location. If you get a great location with a brick and mortar and you can couple that with word of mouth marketing, that might be all you need. So with brick and mortar, it's a huge pro is that location, because you now have a choice of targeting people based on the fact that you might have main street frontage, or you might have the only business that has an entrance and an exit on two different sides. And so I think that's huge, because it also adds to a differential to your business and makes it more conducive for foot traffic, because it becomes easier to locate, it becomes easier to navigate, and more times than not, the best located businesses are easier to get in and out of. And a lot of people like to park in those places and then maneuver around to all these other businesses. So I call them anchor locations, and they become like a destination versus, oh, I
and then
just
we have
happen to
Brooke
walk in.
On social media on Periscope in Georgia, and she says location, location, location. And that's like the key thing in any business. If you're going to be physical space, is location, location, location. Pro for me, I like brick and mortars because customers usually spend more than what they were intending to. Like, I know if I go with my girl to the store and she's just going to get a scarf, or she's just going to get some earrings, It never ever turns out like that, man. She's walking out with a few bags. That's just how it goes. Or even me, like if I go to the grocery store and I'm like, yo, I need fish, I need chicken, I need eggs, and I need milk. I usually come back with some protein bars, some vitamins, some coffee, some hot sauce, just like some gum, just stuff that I see all there. So I always end up spending more, which is a great thing for upsales in the retail or actual brick and mortar locations. What's another pro for you?
I think with traditional brick and mortar businesses, it offers a lot more legitimacy right away to the business, because to piggyback on your pro at the very beginning is that people like being able to physically walk into a building, know that that's exactly where they are. They're able to see the product, tangibly touch the product. Also, they enjoy being able to have that human condition interaction with salespeople or owners or other patrons. So I think another pro of a brick and mortar is it just immediately adds credibility.
Absolutely,
and that
because
legitimacy
at the end
to
of the day, you and I especially know this. Brick and mortar locations aren't cheap. No matter if you have it on Main Street or you got it on a side street, it's going to cost you some cash regardless. It's like having another house note. It's like having 3 car payments. It's going to be an expense your way. So I completely agree. Another pro for me when it comes to brick and mortars is that there's more varied products. When I walk into Anthropology, there's going to be a collection of different things to purchase. When I walk into Office Depot, there's going to be a whole bunch of things to purchase. And I feel because there's more varied products there, I will be more open to purchasing or picking up things like, hey, you know what? I needed some duct tape. Let me go scoop that up right then.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too that brick and mortar locations, once again, it offers business owners the opportunity to add more items to the transaction, because no matter how great a product you have, no matter how awesome your website is, and no matter how seamless the online transaction can be, nothing beats the old school face-to-face modeling of the products. You buy a nice pair of jeans and you have a nice top. If you're dealing with a professional salesperson and they know that the woman is the one purchasing it, then they're going to ask 3 questions. What is this purchase for? What accessories do you already have to go with it? And hey, check these out because this matches perfectly, and for an additional X, Y, or Z would make a great addition to this entire outfit and solve your problem right now. And you're not going to get that with online. And what happens too is that it also limits the choices of what I call the eyeball test. Online, there's too many eyeball tests going on. There's this product popping here and this product popping here and this window that pops up here. So brick and mortar, like I said, it just really offers a lot more opportunities to legitimize the purchase, in my opinion, for consumers, clients, and ultimately the business owners seeing the immediacy of their return.
Absolutely. Another pro for me, just going off that as well, is when you shop at a brick and mortar location, even if it's like a Barnes and Noble or Forever 21, everybody feels good about pumping money in their own economy, in their local economy. So it doesn't have to be independent. Ideally, it would be independent to have that true, authentic local feel. But if you spend at a big box retailer, you somehow, some way like, oh, well, I paid the meter downtown and the city of Austin or the city of Pulaski, Tennessee is going to benefit from it, or they're going to get the state taxes from it or the city taxes from it. So that's another benefit that I like for having a brick and mortar location.
Well, I'm going to tell everybody that's going to listen to this live, that's going to watch this on the replay, and then obviously is going to see this on our YouTube channels, respectively, on all the different countries that these videos go out to, is that when you're dealing with small business owners in your local economies, for every $1 you spend, it reciprocates through that economy 7 different times. So that's why it's powerful to have those brick and mortar locations, because what happens is that if you decrease brick and mortar locations, you're ultimately decreasing the tax base of the community, which is going to cost you in the long run, because you as a citizen or as a homeowner or as a community member, okay, you're going to make up that difference in the tax base. So always remember this, is that while online is attractive and online gives you immediate opportunities to expand on a global scale, those brick and mortar locations are invaluable to your local economy's ecosystem.
Absolutely, absolutely. Another pro for me on the brick and mortar side is going to be you get it now. There's no shipping, there's no wait time. You just get it now. It's that instant gratification, and buying feels so good. I don't care if you buy a 25-cent piece of bubble gum. It just feels amazing to have it in your hand.
Well, you also are getting you're also ensuring your purchase. So, you know, there's not that chance of, hey, I didn't get the right thing, or it didn't get shipped in the right way. And you're also eliminating variables of other people being involved in the process. It's a very point A to point B transaction. And for most people, that builds a lot more comfort, which ultimately for me leads to this pro: instantaneous referability. Brick and mortar locations create instantaneous referability for clients and for business owners because of your fact of it's an immediate purchase. I call it a direct sale. That's a direct sale. Online sales are indirect sales. And so I think that's a power move in the business world, and why brick and mortar is going to sustain the test of time, because people are not going to want to lose that direct contact. It's just not humanly possible.
Absolutely. It's from our so DNA crucial to have knowledgeable salespeople, like you said, if they were very well trained, asking the right questions, and competent to be able to build that know, like, and trust, and also get that referral in there. So I absolutely agree. My final pro for brick and mortars is less returns. I know you get so much more less returns through brick and mortars because you get to try it on in the store. You get to see it in the store. So that's one of my pros, is less returns for brick and mortars.
Yeah, my final pro is going to be it creates immediate jobs. So, you know, when you offer a brick and mortar location, you're creating an immediate opportunity to employ someone else, which just continues to add to that overall local small business, infrastructure. And to be quite honest with you, it's the ultimate feel good moment for any business owner to know that they're going to cut that first check for an employee, because that's when you start really reaching scalable moments in your business, in your life. And it's, like I said, to me, that's another pro for the brick and mortar.
Brick and mortar, just great pros all along. We're not against brick and mortars whatsoever. There's so many good, great, phenomenal things about a brick and mortar. But let's switch over to the cons, because everything is pros and cons. So I'm going to start off with my first con. And for me, this is very personal. There's an actual comfort level. Let's say you're buying something very intimate, like yesterday. For my birthday, I went to the store and I was shopping and I was getting some stuff. I saw some teeth whitening strips, and it was behind like this thing where it's like locked. And I was like, man, like I want to get my teeth whitening strips, but I don't want to go ask the lady, hey, can you white my teeth? She's going to ask me, oh, do you use these before and stuff like that? I don't know. I just feel subconscious about it. I don't know. It's just weird. And I didn't want to go through that. I didn't want to go through that interaction. So I did all my shopping. When I came home, I went to Amazon and I just purchased it right there. And it was less. It was, Amazon Prime shipping. So it was just like, okay, that there's something there.
Excuse me. Well, I will tell you right away, you're 100% correct. Online allows more anonymity with purchases. It allows more intimacy with the purchase because you feel like you kind of are doing it at your own level. So people are probably more likely to buy things they truly need online versus than trying to find that one time at the store that nobody's going to see them in the line checking out. But for me, I think that brick and mortars are, for a con, is it's going to be a lot more cost to start up a brick and mortar business. You really got to have a lot of capital saved up. You're really going to expend a lot of money before you even sell a product, getting your building the code, making sure that you got everything in order. Based on the size of your building, you're going to have to either offer 1 or 2 bathrooms. If you're a restaurant, you're going to have the proper ventilation. They're going to have to meet standards. I mean, there's just so many different things that go into it. And the costs just begin to rack up before you even ring the
and
cash register for the very first time.
2016 America, now we have to put transgender bathrooms in public places. So that's another expense that you have to go and about that. So there's little things like that. The hallways have to be wide enough. The counters have to be short enough on certain places and tall enough to meet the ADA requirements. You also have to pay a deposit if you're going to have a commercial lease. And that's typically the first month's, the last month's rent. And they're going to have to see a bank account with at least 6 figures, 100 grand in there. You're going to have to pay deposits for the utilities. You're going to have monthly rents towards the utilities, monthly rent in general. And you're going to have to pay some state tax to the comptroller, depending on your state and your legislation. And then different cities will have different taxes that could also charge you those things for being in those areas. So yes, there is more expenses for sure to get started up. I completely agree. Another one of my cons is that it takes time. So those teeth whitening strips that I bought for my laptop at home, I bought those like in 30 seconds. But if I was going to go to the store, I had to go in there, ask the lady, get it out, go there, pull, put it in the thing, wait in line, swipe my credit card, say thank you, show the guy my receipt so he knows I didn't steal it, and then go home. That's like at least 30 minutes quickest ever. So that's one of my cons, is that brick and mortars do take time. And now in 2016, people value their time like crazy.
Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head, and I'll piggyback on that and say also there are a ton of hours being put in on the front side from just working. So when you're really looking at business owners who are already creating the business, already putting in all this money, already trying to get their businesses to the point of just being able to open, they're working 80, 90, 100 hours a week, which then does what? You leave crumbs to your customer base. I don't care what anyone says. You can work your tail off, but the more hours you work and the less sleep you get and the less healthy your body becomes and your mental capacity becomes, you're leaving crumbs for your customers, and ultimately it could hurt your engagement scale. So I'll say this too, Frank, on a con. I just wanted to kind of add a little bit of layership to what you said, because what you said was spot on. Was that I think a con too for brick and mortars now is that you have less control over the variables. You can't control local government making decisions. You can't control federal government making decisions. I know, for instance, in Giles County, where I'm from, our main street has a city street that runs through it and a state highway that runs through it. There's different mandates for what businesses can do on sidewalk sales based on being near a state highway versus a city highway. So it limits these, what you would call register ringing activities, because you have different rules and guidelines that small business owners have no control over. And, I think that is also becoming more prevalent nowadays, because as our economy gets better, things get more restrictive. And so, I think anyone that's looking into a brick and mortar location needs to be very aware that once they sign their lease, unless they're the building owner, they're really giving over more. They're giving over more than what they're going to get in
Absolutely.
return as far
Here
as
in Austin, Texas, where I live, there's no plastic bags, man. You have to come to the stores with your own reusable bags. And people who aren't from here, and Austin's a huge tourist city, huge. People that come here, they have bad experiences at the best local places. And if you go to Yelp and you look at all the 1-star, 2-star reviews, they're like, yeah, there's great this, great that, but they wouldn't sell me a bag. And they were trying to charge me $1.25 for this bag, and I can't stand these hippie people in Austin and blah, blah, blah. And that business owner has nothing to do with that. They're just following the law. They're trying not to get any fines against them, and they're being penalized for that. So I definitely agree with that. Another con for me is that, like we were talking about earlier in the pro, is that if you do have a knowledgeable salesperson that can go in there, if you have the opposite of that and somebody who isn't the best representative of your organization or company, they could in turn off your customer forever by maybe just having a bad day, by maybe saying something in the wrong way, or even in the wrong tone, maybe calling somebody sir instead of a ma'am, even if it was on accident. Just little stuff like that could really affect the business negatively.
Yeah, and I also think that what it ultimately leads to is why 80% of all businesses fail brick and mortar too. And I think that's a huge con, is the failure rate, because we have less educated business owners. We have less financially stable business owners, but yet we're rolling out opportunities for loans and funding and grants and all these things to put businesses in business, but yet we're not putting any educational tools behind it to strengthen the foundation of owners or employees or all these things. And ultimately, I think the failure rate of brick and mortar businesses is a huge con, because who really wants to jump in the 80% club of a failure? Now I don't want to knock the hustle, because trust me, once again, the heartbeat of our economy is built on the backs of small business owners. But I don't want to see brick and mortar business owners go out of business because we're giving them free range on money they can borrow, but not teaching them how they need to pay that back. And, I think that's a huge con as well.
My final con is, it took me a while to see if this one was going to be a con or this was going to be a pro. So I put it on both. The customer is afraid of impulse buys. Like, I can't tell you how many times I don't go to like a Best Buy, especially as a blogger and as a videographer and a vlogger and like in live stream. Every time I see a Best Buy, I'm like, you know what? I really need a HD camera, but I just know if I walk in there, I'm gonna walk out with like a laptop, a tablet, a stylus, whatever. So that's something that I put for a con as well.
Yeah, and I would tell you as well too. What my last con is going to be availability. There's not a lot of engagement happening anymore in brick and mortar locations. You don't believe me? Go to Walmart. There's 37 lines and 3 people working them. And I think that's a huge con, because people go to brick and mortar locations to truly be able to have someone guide them and lead them to the solving of their problem. And what happens is, when you get there and there's not that engagement, then they're thinking to themselves, why did I even come here? So, the con is we're falling back to a service-based mentality in our brick and mortar locations. And when I say service-based, is service in today's economy is doing just enough. It's having that greeter at the door that makes sure somebody says hi to you, and you're thinking that's plenty enough for them.
Man, agreed. So we've gone over the similarities of both online and a brick and mortar. We've gone over the pros and the cons of brick and mortar. And now we're going to show you how to turn mortar and bricks into cash and clicks, how to reuse it on you. But we're going to go switch over and do the loop-de-loop and go over to the online. So my first pro, let's stick with the pros for online, is there's more competitive price points. You don't have to pay employees, or maybe as much employees. You don't have to pay for retail. You don't have to pay for the lights, the water, the construction. You could charge a lot less for your products and be more competitive.
Absolutely. Now, it leads right into my pro. It's lower startup cost. You're instead of you putting $100,000 down or having to show $100,000 portfolio just to be able to have the opportunity to open a brick and mortar, you're going to be able to probably walk in with $500 and get a decently developed website. You're going to be able to get a nice e-commerce package plan. You're going to have lower marketing cost up front. You're going to have the opportunity to have a wholesale operation. And you're going to be able to add more inventory that you might not even have at the time, because now you have a place to house it, and it's not costing you any money to not have it selling. So, I think the lower startup cost is a huge benefit to having an online model for your business.
Absolutely. And it's very, very, very viable. I also would like to add that the online marketplace or online business would allow you to enter a global marketplace a lot easier. So I have a fashion line that's based out of Spain, but I'm using social media, blogging, and e-commerce and Facebook ads and social media ads, paid ads, to find a really curated list and get people to purchase our stuff online.
Well, and you also have instantaneous access to a multitude of people with online businesses. Online businesses completely allowed you, I call it the Laffy Taffy test, right? So brick and mortar businesses, you got the Laffy Taffy that's in the package. It's nice, it's hard, it looks good, it's great, but it has a very minimal start and finish, which is the reach that you have physically to go get. Online, it's that Laffy Taffy that gets stretched out. It's still the same Laffy Taffy. All you did was stretch it out because you have a platform to do so. So where Singapore's sleeping right now, my business is still open in Singapore because I've been able to stretch the platform. So I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
I dig it. Got another pro for you, Mr. Crane. I love the convenience of online shopping. I just love it. It's like literally like Pinterest. For those of you guys who don't know, so I'm in the social media marketing realm, and Pinterest, all of my clients, especially if they sell to women, books, programs, products, whatever. Pinterest has 400 million people on there. 80% of them are women. And you can do this little thing called a buyable pin, where that's buyable, B-U-Y-able. So B-U-Y-able, buyable pin. And you can put that on there. So if you sell scarves, jewelry, necklaces, whatever, especially if it pertains to women, because remember, 400 million people on there, 80% that are women, they can buy directly from the application, and their credit card is already linked to their account. Already, it's ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, that's a huge win because now it's eliminating a lot of frustration. I mean, you're solving problems for the buyers. You're helping them make a buying decision just through the immediacy of the application. But for me, I think my most favorite pro of an online business model is you have the opportunity to work remote or work from home. You now become what Frank calls that nomad. You now have the opportunity to go to the business if you choose to, or bring the business to you, which is going to be able to offer shorter commute times for owners. You're going to have flexible schedules. You're going to become more productive because of that. And obviously, at the end of the day, by being able to eliminate those three things, you're going to have a less stress environment to operate under. So that work remote or work from home, that's the dream everybody wants. So also, guys, really quick, think about how many brick and mortar businesses are saving money to their bottom line right now by creating a telecommute opportunity. So online offered a completely different business model to brick and mortar locations, which is saving money to their bottom line, allowing them to increase jobs and performance and productivity and pump money more back into the economy because they're putting that money they're saving on payroll back into the people they're paying, which is ultimately getting paid back into your economy, which ultimately does what? Lead to better tax bases, happier communities, and longer lasting.
Boom, man. I love how you see the big picture and really draw us in, man. That's legit. That's real legit. So my next pro for online business is you can instantly find any item that you're looking for. I don't know about you, Matt, but I'm picky. Like this blue shirt that I'm wearing, I didn't want a crew neck. I didn't want a deep V-neck. I wanted a standard size V-neck, and I wanted it from a certain material, from a certain whatever. And I went to the store, and I went to like 10 different stores to look for the right one, and I finally found it. And I'm like, man, I could have gone on Amazon and said blue regulation size bro V-necks in this color and my size. And they would have popped up. Which one would you like? Would you like them with this cut from this brand and this fabric? And I could just choose that. So I love the convenience of shopping online and being able to find specifically what it is that I'm looking for.
I couldn't agree with you more. I mean, that's so spot on. And there's not one human being on planet Earth. Most men know what they want prior to them getting there. I'm extremely picky. I can't tell you how many times I've gone into a store knowing I needed dress shoes or a suit or a dress shirt and leave with nothing because I'll be with my wife and I'll just be so picky that I just won't get anything. But so to piggyback on what you said, Frank, what online does for us is that it allows us to shop before we even go shop. So this weekend in Tennessee is tax-free weekend. So I've got two small children going to school. We're doing school supplies, clothes, all those things. So what we've been able to do is find things online that we want, order them, but then also build a portfolio of things that we're going to look for when we're out and about. And it allows us to make a better informed decision on price because we're able at the click of a button to go find whatever we want to find. I mean, my wife has a business where she'll reach out to people in different states and buy clothes for our children that in a retail location would cost $150, where they're only going to be able to make a phone call to whichever stores within a 5-mile radius. She's able to go to California and find it at half the price, have it shipped. So by the time we buy it, pay shipping, we're still coming out 50% to the good, all because it's called that plug and play model. So I agree with you 100% that having the ability to shop how you want to, not shop how you need to, is very beneficial for online businesses. And I think for online consumerism as well.
Absolutely. My final pro for online business, and this is from Wake Up Better. He actually is saying the same thing here in our live studio audience on Blab, is the taxes. The taxes are a lot more favorable online. So I happen to be in Texas, which doesn't have a state income tax, and all the businesses that I register are registered here in Texas. So I don't have to pay that state income tax from, let's say, a California or a New York or, other places like that. So I love the fact that you can really save a lot of expenses on the tax because there's no city, municipality, any kind of comptrollers, any of those things. I love that fact.
Yeah, it's a huge benefit. To add to that is that I love the fact that with online shopping is that if you buy a certain amount of product, you're going to get shipping for free. Which now what happens? You're adding more line items. Nobody's arguing about taxes. And yet you're still getting the maximum return on your money because you feel like I'm going to save 10% if I get an order over $50 or if I get an order over $60. So another pro for me with online businesses is that it allows me to create more online businesses. So I have a coaching business. I have a speaking business. I have a digital marketing business. I have all these things that I do online, but yet also am an affiliate marketer. I have affiliates with all these online companies, which allows me to put their product that they own, that they house on my websites, a digital image. And every time somebody clicks on that, purchase that product, I'm getting a check. It also allows me to take products that might be sitting in my home that I don't do anything with, create an online store, house it, and let the model who's got the big name, a lot of the traffic, and everybody knows who they are. We're talking Amazon and eBay. And all I'm doing is targeting people to that site. That's huge. Because all you're doing by creating more commerce opportunities is you're creating more opportunities for people to what? To spend money and create more commerce.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I feel like we can go for days and days and days on online, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Everything is with its challenges. Nothing's perfect in the world. And one of my very first cons from online business, and this is from personal experience in the last few weeks, is returns. Lots of people are sending returns, and it's nothing against the manufacturer, nothing against anything. Just people, when they see things in their house as opposed to online, they're like, you know what? I don't think I want to spend my money on this. Or you know what? I wasn't thinking properly when I bought this. This was an impulse buy, and they just send it back. And as a retailer or an e-commerce store or an online business, you absolutely have to take it back.
Yeah, that's a huge con, and one that I had as well. I think you're dead on. I think it's a huge frustration for any business owner knowing that your hands are completely tied. You have no say-so in the matter. I also think to add to that is I call it the mask product. Is that how do you know you're really getting that new and unused product? I think for a lot of consumers is that, once again, because they don't have any tangible opportunities to say, oh, this smells like real leather. Man, I can tell there has not any scuff marks on the bottom where all these things. I think that adds a little bit of skepticism in the purchasing and is a con. I think it definitely is a con. If there was a way for us to digitally create a way I could reach in and grab it, pull it out, look at it, you know what I mean? If there's a way we could figure something out like that, I think it would go a long way. I think virtual reality is going to bridge that gap personally. But right now, I think it's still a huge con, and one that is why we see so many different online businesses popping up trying to solve that $1 million question, if you will.
Absolutely. And I totally think that you're going to see a lot of VR stuff and augmented reality going down. I actually just had somebody last week in New Zealand who was on my podcast. We were talking about AR and VR, augmented reality or virtual reality. And I truly feel like here in the next 18 months to 24 months, 2 years or less, we'll be able to put on some, some goggles. And there's already $50 goggles from Samsung right now. You literally buy at the Samsung store or wherever you're at, pay $50 and then just put them on, and now you can be in a very primitive but very powerful virtual reality world, and you can see things to scale what they look like. You might possibly be able to feel what they feel like, or maybe interpret what they feel like. So yes, I truly agree with that. And that was my next con, is that you cannot see things in person, and because you can't see things in person, there's a little bit of that loss. That experience is tainted, if you will, because primitively, from our brains, like when we subconsciously go to a market, there's just something that goes in there. We're like, oh, we're at a market, we're going to buy food, water, clothes, shelter, things that we need. And we still have that in our brains. Our brains are still, wired for 10,000 years ago. We're not wired for all this virtual reality and augmented reality stuff. It's sensory overload every single day. No wonder kids are having to pop Ritalin and Adderall for their ADD, man. It's just so much, and people need drugs to control it. So I feel like you can't see the product in person is my number one con. After returns, I feel like that's my number one con, is you can't see the product.
I agree with you 100%. Now, my number one con is it's saturated. The online space is completely saturated, which forces business owners to become so marketing intensive. Meaning you're going to have to learn SEO. You're going to have to learn pay-per-click advertising. You're going to have to learn affiliate marketing. You're going to have to learn influencer marketing. You're going to have to learn all these different things that is going to force you, right? It's kind of like when my dad got his smartphone for the first time, right? He didn't really want to do it, but he had no choice because the market forced him to move to that point. And it's the same thing with online businesses. The minute you jump in that space, you either are all in or you're all out. There's no middle ground. The marketplace is just moving too fast. It's too saturated. And here's the deal. Because Facebook has 1.6 billion users, as a small business owner in the online space, you have to figure out how your business can become visible to all these different time zones, what keywords, what AdWords, what time they're looking at post, how you can become top of mind. I mean, it's unbelievable the amount of intensity you have to put behind it. So for me, the biggest con is that saturation forces me as a business owner to almost have to get more intricate on my details, right? Most people think online businessing, because it's online, it's click and go, that it's just easy to pop a product on there and you can roll with it. There's more involved in putting together a developmental plan for an online business than there ever was into putting together one in a brick and mortar.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like if you're a sophisticated business owner, and I say sophisticated business owner, meaning you've paid unemployment insurance, you've paid payroll taxes, you know what a C of O is, a certificate of occupancy, and you know what it's like to get that. It's very difficult. Most of the time, you might have to spend 20 grand to get that one little piece of paper because your counters are this too high or your doorways are like this too short. I'm talking to the sophisticated business owner right now. If you are a sophisticated business owner, you either have to have the skills to market online, or you have to have the financial wherewithal to hire somebody and procure somebody who's an expert, like myself, Matt Crane, or Matt Crane, or one of our colleagues in our industry, where we teach people how to do such that, how to use these online marketing tools, how to get SEO, how to do those things. even though like people know that, like we just have somebody right now, Jose Gles says, I think you have to use SEO marketing, social media marketing, content marketing, etc. So he knows that kind of stuff, and he's out in Spain, and he has his own brick and mortar location, and he has a few hot dog chains, and he's, you know, a sophisticated entrepreneur. He's had to take out loans. He's had to market himself, and he does great. He's actually won awards for his marketing. But when he runs into somebody like me who like lives and dies and breathes this stuff, and who doesn't have a restaurant operation, who doesn't have to be in there, who can focus 1,000,000% of his energy in something like this. When I say something like pay-per-click, influencer marketing, or even just like other stuff, I kind of get this like, yeah, I know about that. And everybody, like, it's like the little tools on social media, like the automation tools. Everybody knows about that stuff, but are they using and are they applying those things? And that's really the benefit for somebody who's going to be online. Like whether you hire me, whether you hire Matt, whether you hire one of our many esteemed colleagues, or you just go to YouTube and learn how to do it all yourself and put the time in, regardless, the fee to make your business successful is somebody has to market it. That's the fee, period.
Yeah, I look at online as being that feeding frenzy. So when you think about Shark Week was a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago, okay, brick and mortars are always going to be the great white sharks of the business world, right? They just always are. Everybody's going to recognize them. When you roll up on them, you're going to see them. You're immediately going to get intimidated by them, or you're going to know that's it. That's the one right there. But when you get online, it's a feeding frenzy. And what happens during that feeding frenzy is that either the strong survive or the smartest survive. And so online, you're either constantly evolving or you're constantly going through the revolving door mechanism. So with online business models, most people fail to understand that you have to become the ultimate network professional online. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I've always been talented when it came to helping people build businesses. When I know how to create the infrastructure you need to run a 6-figure business and crank it out in 30 days or less. However, I had no clue on the online space, none. But I knew that one of my skill sets was I knew how to create relationships with people that would get me to that point. But what value system do you bring in return? So when you step online, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand that your product no longer sings the song. It's you. So with a brick and mortar, hey, I can throw this Evian bottle up in a Walmart right now, and I don't have to touch it. It's going to sit there, and I've got dedicated traffic going to come by and see it. If they want water, they're either going to get it or not. Online, you better like the person holding the bottle of Evian water as I'm selling it. You better see me drinking that water. You better see me strategically posting with this thing on nice waterfalls or having some crazy backdrop. Or, you know, me being 120 degrees and throwing it on my hair. Because that's what online businesses force you to do. And all these people who think they have these unicorn ideas, and I see it happen all the time, Frank. They push this product. They push this webinar. They push this service, but yet I never see their face. I never see them. I don't know their backdrop. It's like, what are you doing? You know, Nike didn't sell Nike before they sold the story of Nike. Right? So remember this, guys. Nike would have never have been a product had Michael Jordan not said, just do it, and had a tongue that hung out of his mouth. Remember that. Because Nike wasn't even the big boy on the block. At one point, it was Converse when they had Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and all these other big name players selling that product because it was them that they knew how to sell it. So that's my big con, Frank, is saturation, man. It's brutal.
I dig it, man. I dig it. So we've gone over the pros and cons of both, the similarities. You know, I feel like we've done a pretty good case on both. So who wins? What is your verdict? Your Judge Mills Lane. What's your verdict?
You know, Frank, it's really hard for me to pick simply because I've done both. Mm-hmm. But I will say that online wins for me simply because it offers me less upfront capital, and it also gives me the opportunity to have short-term failures. Brick and mortars don't give that to me, and that's why ultimately online wins this argument for Matt Crane.
I hear you. I hear you. And that's great. I feel very strongly towards online as well. Brick and mortar. I mean, ideally, you would have a brick and mortar with a strong online base, and they would be a symbiotic relationship. But if I had to pick one and I can only choose one method, online all the way, 100%. I'm saving on payroll. I'm saving on everything, 100% online. It allows me to live the digital nomad lifestyle that I love, baby.
Well, think about it. We've got six-figure offices in our homes right now. And here's the other thing, guys. Here's another beautiful nugget. I told my man Frank I was going to drop a golden nugget on you guys tonight. Here's what I'm going to drop on you. If you have an online business and you have 400 feet of dedicated space to an office in your home, you now can write that office off on your taxes. You can write the utility bill for that 400 square feet off on your taxes. You can write any upgrades it's made to that 400 square feet minimum off on your taxes. Your cell phone now becomes a taxable or a tax write-off. My watch becomes a tax write-off because it now is it's my time mechanism for my business. I mean, all these things become so prevalent where it's still viable at a brick and mortar. But do you know how much red tape goes through when you try to file those taxes through a brick and mortar? Because it had to have a certain PO. It had to be filed under it had to come out of a certain account, not from my home. Because I'm a W-4, not a W-2. Big difference there, guys. So that was my golden nugget, is that if you have an online business and you have a desk in your home, all you need to do is is make sure that the light that runs that room is within 400 feet of your desk, and you now have a home office, and you can write that off on your taxes.
Boom, baby. Boom. We're always coming to you with extra value. This was today's episode 3 of Millennial Moguls. We're actually going to do, I think we should do a Millennial Mogul in Vegas here in a few weeks at the Growth Hacking Conference. We'll do it in person.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would tell you, I think this has been our best episode to date. And so for anyone that's gonna watch these and are going to continue to see this thing grow, only know that Frank and I, we are so determined to deliver value. We want entertainment. I believe, I think everybody wants entertainment, but this Millennial Mogul show is really built on you guys walking away with practical information that you can then go and apply into your life or your business immediately. So I want to thank everyone that is sharing this out. And guys, my man Frank Salas said this: we are less than a month away from Las Vegas, Nevada. Frank Salas, the talented Mr. Salas 1. He's got the palms already locked down for our event. I'm going to be taking the stage as a keynote speaker. If there's anyone on planet Earth within the vicinity of Vegas, you don't want to miss that. We've got Diane Fernandez that's going to also be delivering the goods. She's out killing it right now across the world with her digital nomad businesses. And I'm really excited about this event for the Talent Tribe and for all these different global entrepreneurs. There's going to be over 5,000 to 6,000 people in Las Vegas for a multitude of events. And I can tell you, they're going to walk away from the Talent Tribe event going, that's my vibe right there. That's my vibe.
Absolutely. Absolutely, guys. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for really being supportive and, giving us a bunch of ideas throughout the week for the stuff that you want to see. Again, we are aiming to bring you nothing but value. If you have any feedback for myself or Matt for the show individually, regardless, please reach out to us. You can find Matt Crane everywhere on social media at I am Matt Crane. And you can find me everywhere on social media at Talented Mr. Salas, except for Periscope. I'm at Frank Salas there. And on Blab, I'm at Talented Mr. Salas 1 because Blab's in beta and didn't like my first one.
Yeah, you also see at Matt Crane 10X here on Blab because Blab needs to step their online game up. You want to talk about saturation, guys? It'd be nice for us to be able to have those synchronized taglines across the board as well. So I want to thank everyone too. My man Frank Salas, as always, killed it, my man. Great show tonight.
Great show, man. Great show.